Assassins!
I'm Brooke.
And I'm Cami. Welcome to Bookish Realms. We're just two girls who can't stop talking about fantasy books.
Welcome to our quarterly reading wrap-up for April, May, and June of 2025.
So, what is a quarterly reading wrap-up? In this episode, we'll give you a breakdown of the books we read in this quarter, including summaries, ratings, and what we thought about them. At the end, we'll have a segment called Our Shared Pages, where we discuss books we had in common this quarter. Our Shared Pages is the only section of the quarterly wrap-up that won't be spoiler-free, and we'll give you plenty of warnings before we start talking about a book. There is no shared pages in this quarterly reading wrap-up because Brooke and I did not have any shared books. Sadly, unfortunately. We had our own journeys this quarter.
Why a quarterly reading wrap-up? If you follow us on socials, you know that we are both really terrible at sharing our TBR lists or posting our monthly reads. We are both kind of all over the place when it comes to reading, and it feels more natural to us to do it this way.
Let's start with the literary lineup, which we made that name so difficult for this section for no reason. In this section, we'll list off all the books we read. Brooke, start us off.
Okay, I read 14 books this quarter. I'm not really sure what the fuck happened or what I was on, but clearly I was in a really big kick. So let me start. I read Shadow and Bone and Siege and Storm by Leah Bardugo. Also, if I start butchering some of these authors' names, I apologize. I don't know. But anyways, Take My Hand by Dolene Perkins Velez, Our Infinite Fates by Lauren Stephen, Presumed Innocent by Scott Toro, The Body Keeps Score, Brain, Mind, and Body in the Healing of Trauma by Bessel van der Kolk. I don't know. I'm That Girl, Living the Power of My Dreams by Jordan Childs, The Only One Left by Riley Sager, Say You'll Remember Me by Abby Jimenez, The Four Winds by Kristen Hanna, The Book of Azrael by Amber V. Nicole, Anxious People by Frederick Bachman, The Frozen River by Ariel Lahan, Great Big Beautiful Life by Emily Henry.
I read 6 books this quarter, which I was just talking to my fiance about how I was like, oh my God, I was like in such a reading slump. And she was like, no, you savored your books. I'm like, okay, sure. We can reframe it that way. I always put this note in, but I do consider audiobooks reading, but I don't usually count them in my quarterly reading wrap up because the way my brain works, I can only listen to books I've already read, which there is one of those in this wrap up, and I have a good reason for that. I read the entire War of Lost Hearts trilogy, which is Daughter of No Worlds, Children of Fallen Gods, and Mother of Death and Dawn by Carissa Broadbent. I read, actually, this is the one I listened to, Women Who Run with the Wolves by Clarissa Pinkola Estes. I read this in college, but I'm counting it because it's been over 10 years since I first read it, and I have things to say. And I listened to it this time around. I read Kiss of the Basilisk by Lindsay Strope, and my last read was Heartless Hunter by Kristen Ciccarelli.
Now let's get into some short summaries. Like the name of the section says, this is where we share our quick summaries for each book we read this quarter. These summaries are spoiler-free. I will kick it off, and I'm sorry, I'm going to be talking for a little while, but Shadow and Bone by Leah Bardugo is about a young soldier in a war-torn world who discovers a powerful secret within herself, and now she must face dark magic and high-stakes intrigue to save her country. The next up, which is the second book in that series, is Siege and Storm, also by Leah Bardugo. It picks up right after Shadow and Bone, and Elena is grappling with her growing power and facing new challenges, both from enemies and allies, as she uncovers more about the magic shaping her world. Next up, we have Take My Hand by Dolene Perkins Velez, is a moving story about a young girl discovering her strength and identity while navigating a world full of challenges, family bonds, and moments of transformation. Our Infinite Fates by Lauren Stevens is a grappling fantasy where love, fate, and duty collide, as the characters are forced to uncover dangerous secrets while dealing with their destiny. Next up, Presumed Innocent by Scott Turo. It is a legal thriller about a prosecutor accused of his colleague's murder, leading to twists and turns that uncover betrayal and dark secrets within the justice system. Next up, The Body Keeps Score. This one is all about how trauma affects the mind and body, offering deep insight into how we can heal and understand our own responses to pain. Next up, we have I'm That Girl, Living the Power of My Dreams by Jordan Childs. Olympic gymnast Jordan Childs shares her inspiring journey of pushing through obstacles, finding inner strength, and believing in herself no matter what. The Only One Left by Riley Sager is a suspenseful mystery set on a remote estate where a caregiver must uncover chilling secrets about her mute patient's dark past. Say You'll Remember Me by Abby Jimenez is a heartwarming romance about second chances, where two people from different worlds navigate love, personal growth, and new beginnings. The Four Winds by Kristen Hanna is set during the Great Depression. This novel follows a woman's fight for survival, hope, and resilience, showing the power of determination in hard times. The Book of Azrael is a fantasy adventure where an ancient prophecy leads a young woman on a journey filled with dark forces, secrets, and revelations that will change her life forever. Anxious People by Frederick Bachman follows a group of strangers who become entangled in a failed bank robbery and an accidental hostage situation during an apartment viewing. Through humor and heart, Bachman explores how people's lives intersect in unexpected ways, shedding light on human flaws, compassion, and resilience. The Frozen River is set in colonial Maine during a brutal winter. This historical mystery follows Martha Ballard, a midwife and healer, as she becomes entangled in a suspicious death. The story balances Martha's determination to uncover the truth with rich historical detail and the challenges faced by women of her time. And lastly, Great Big Beautiful Life by Emily Henry is a heartfelt contemporary novel which centers on a woman who's forced to rethink her future after career and relationship setbacks. As she reconnects with her small hometown and old dreams, she rediscovers herself, finding new paths to fulfillment and belonging. I am currently reading the second book in the Gods and Monsters series, which is titled The Throne of the Broken Gods, and I'm also listening to The Perfect Divorce by Geneva Rose.
You have such varied reading tastes, and I don't. Okay, I'm going to summarize my books. Let's start with Daughter of No Worlds. Tasana barely escapes with her life after trying to earn her freedom and throws herself into the world of the powerful orders to save the friend that she left behind. But to survive, she must train under a fire wielder who hates the orders. Children of Fallen Gods. Tasana gave up her freedom to save others, but now she's bound by a blood pact, forced to fight in the war, with Max determined to protect her no matter the cost. But as betrayal shatters Ara and darker forces rise, they're pulled into a messy web of ancient magic, secrets, and impossible choices. And then the last one in the trilogy, Mother of Death and Dawn. After a devastating loss, Tasana is determined to save the one she loves most. But her people's fight for freedom grows more dangerous by the day. As ancient magic and power-hungry queens threaten both the human and fae worlds, Tasana, Max, and Aphie must choose who and what they're willing to sacrifice. Then we have Women Who Run with the Wolves. Dr. Clarissa Pinkola Estes believes that within every woman lives the wild woman, a fierce instinctual force of creativity, wisdom, and untamed power that society has long tried to silence. She combines myths, folktales, and deep insight to help women reclaim this forgotten self. And then a total 180 to Kiss of the Basilisk, which, if you are on TikTok, this is the split or swallow novel. Okay. Temperance, what a name for what a girl, enters a royal matchmaking ritual for the human king, expecting gowns and etiquette. Instead, she bonds with the basilisk assigned to train her. And baby, Heartless Hunter. She's a socialite by day and a vigilante witch by night. He's a witch hunter, and she's his number one most wanted. I'm currently reading Rebel Witch by Kristen Ciccarelli, and my fiance and I are still currently reading The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins because we read it to each other at night. So it's a slow process, but we're trying to read them all so then we can read the newest one that just came out. Now let's get into rave or hate. Let's rave, rate, or hate on the books we read this quarter. We'll share ratings, pick our favorite and least favorite book, and offer some recommendations.
Okay, so let me start with Shadow and Bone and Siege and Storm. They were terrible. Let me just say. I have read Six of Crows by Leo Bardugo, and I loved that book. It was a 5-star read. But Shadow and Bone was 3 stars, and honestly, I was being really fucking generous. I was being so generous with that. And Siege of Storm was even more boring. I gave that a 2 stars. I listened to that on 2.5 speed because I was ready to get the fuck done with it. And yeah, I'll talk about the third book when we get to the next section. But Take My Hand was a 4-star. This was a really good book. It was just very heavy. The content in the book was very, very heavy. And there were some parts where I was like, oh, you're very, very heavy. It's a very heavy topic. I would recommend if you were looking for something that will honestly break your heart, because it was a lot of there was just a lot of fucked up things that happened in that book. So yeah, would recommend if you want your heart broken. But anyways, next up are Infinite Fates by Laura Stevens. I give this one a 3.5 stars. Honestly, it was good, but it was just missing something. I had really high expectations, and Cami and I were both kind of talking about, because I know Cami read this last quarter, and her and I were both talking about this, and I just feel like it kind of fell flat. There was moments where I was like, oh, this is interesting, but I feel like it didn't really, the description of the book was so good, but the book itself just it wasn't giving what I wanted it to give, So yeah. Cami, do you want to add anything about that?
Yeah, I agree. I thought it was going to be just everything. I forget what it is. Oh, they find each other in every lifetime. They love each other in every lifetime, but they kill each other in every single one. That is an amazing premise. Great. A+. You killed it with that idea. Amazing idea. The delivery, it just fell flat because you just don't You don't get a lot of like why they love each other.
Yeah.
They just do. That's not anything to me. So
And the ending kind of like threw me off. Like the ending threw me off because there wasn't really like I don't know. The ending was just not what I expected it to be.
there was no
And
world building to lead you
there
to
was
that ending.
yeah, there was none at all. So the ending also threw me off. So I gave it a 3.5 stars because there were moments where I was like, oh, okay, this is good, you know. But like I just feel like as a whole, it wasn't like fully put together, in my opinion. And I'm not saying that like don't not read it. Like it might be your cup of tea, but it just wasn't really what I had wanted. You know. Next up, we have Presumed Innocent by Scott Toro. I hated this book. Like it was so bad. I listened to this on audiobook. I listen to a lot of audiobooks because I have a really long commute. Like I literally commute an hour and a half to and from work every day. So I listen to a lot of books to get me through my drive. And when I tell you, I almost fell asleep on the road listening to this fucking book. It was so boring. I literally give it a 1 star. If I could give it 0, I would. On Goodreads, I give it a 2 stars though because I always feel bad. I'm such an empath. I'm like, "Ugh, I feel bad. The author's gonna see it, so I'm gonna give him a 2 just in case." But it was so boring. I literally also listened to this on 2.5 speed because I just wanted to get it over with. And yes, I can understand what they're saying, but like my brain processes really fast. I listen to regular audiobooks on 1.8 and I can understand what they're saying. Like I'll be listening to my audiobooks at home and my family's like, do you get that? And I'm like, yeah, this is what's happening. Like, what do you mean? Like, what? I think that's also why I talk so fast because I think I don't know, the ADHD is really helps me out, I guess, in a sense, in some ways. But anyways, the next up we have The Body Keeps Score. I give this one a 4 star. This book was very informative and I really liked learning about like new things. You know, I love a good I like to learn about trauma. I like to like better myself, you know? And I feel like it gave me some really good insight into like how to deal with trauma, how to go about trauma, and how to understand like some of the trauma that you've been through. And I really liked hearing about some of the like stories that were in there. Yeah, it was just really good. Next up, I'm That Girl, Living the Power of My Dreams by Jordan Childs. 5 stars, no notes. I love Jordan Childs. Also, you're gonna see a theme here. My first half of this quarter was terrible, like terrible books. But then the second half, beautiful books, wonderful, fantastic. But this was like the start of the good books. I love Jordan Childs and her story is just really inspiring. And this story made me feel like I was on FaceTime with her the whole entire time. I don't know why. I like, literally felt like we were on FaceTime having a conversation. And reading this book makes you understand everything that happened at the Olympics, what feels 10 times more fucked up than it was in the beginning. And if you don't know what happened at the Olympics, she got her bronze medal basically snatched from her. And her book like explains a little bit more backstory on that. Next up, we have The Only One Left by Riley Sager. 5 fucking stars. Again, no notes. This book had my jaw on the fucking ground. Okay, I did not expect the twists and the turns that came in throughout this book, and I definitely will be reading some more Riley Sager books. I love a good mystery thriller. Say You'll Remember Me by Abby Jimenez. I love it, Abby Jimenez. Like I will read anything that she comes out with. This is a rom-com, and I just appreciate that like in all of her books, like she makes these amazing stories based on things that could happen in real life. Because I feel like sometimes when you read romance books, it's very like that's just never gonna happen, you know? But I feel like all of her books are like very real, like plausible things that could happen. And I always love her characters. Like she does such a great job of building her characters. Like I love Abby Jimenez. Another author I love, Miss Kristen Hanna herself, The Four Winds, 5 stars. I have never read a book by her that has not that has not been a 5 stars. She never disappoints. And this one was no different. I am a huge Kristen Hanna fan. I recommend anything that she writes. Like I will read and eat all of it up because she is a fantastic writer. The Book of Azrael by Amber V. Nicole. I originally rated this a 4 stars on Goodreads, but after a few days later, and when I started like reading the second book, I gave it a 5 star because I just really like this book. I often like feel like I'm thinking about the book and the characters and the plot in this book because it's just so fucking good. Like the slow burn, the plot, like all of it was beautiful, like literally beautiful. Anxious People. I also love Frederick Bachman. If you read Beartown, yeah, like that's just where my obsession with Frederick Bachman came in. This one was a 4-star read for me. It was kind of confusing at first because it just like goes in so many different directions, but then seeing it all come together was really nice. So that was a really good book. And then the last book of this quarter, The Great Big Beautiful Life. This book was also a solid 4 stars for me. I also really like Emily Henry. I enjoy reading her books. I enjoyed the concept of this story and kind of like the back and forth between the present and the future and kind of like the mirroring of relationships from the present and the future. So it was just really good. So yeah, 4 stars.
So I grouped together Daughter of No Worlds, Children of Fallen Gods, and Mother of Death and Dawn because they're all part of the War of Lost Hearts trilogy. And these were all 5-star books for me. I think this is an amazing series. I cannot recommend it enough. I think the characters are complex. They're layered. They're really different than some other like fantasy characters. I think the world is really rich. And I think the reveals and the twists are perfectly timed and laid out just when you like are starting to get comfortable or like it's when things happen. And I really enjoy that. I also love FMCs like Tasana because I feel like they take their rage and their pain and they use it to fuel their desire for something better and to fight for something more. I also found myself highlighting just so many different quotes because they felt very timely for the current state of the world. And I think that's why I love fantasy because even though the world is nothing like ours, the things that are going on in those worlds really feel like familiar. I think series like this that explore how power and corruption create moral dilemmas are very interesting. And I think Carissa Broadbent did an amazing job at laying all of that out, especially once you get into like the second book and some extra layers are added in of the world. I think that's when I was like, oh, I understand some things now. This was my first Carissa Broadbent read, and I definitely want to check out her other series, though the reading orders kind of scare me, but
Can I
we'll get
just
there.
interject here?
Yeah.
Okay, can I tell you, I have been trying to get Cami to read Daughter of No Worlds for so fucking long, and I am so glad that she finally read it because also if you're listening to this and you have not read Daughter of No Worlds, you must. You simply must. Like, you know that we're obsessed with Throne of Glass. Like, my order is like Throne of Glass and Daughter of No Worlds is like a close second. Like, literally a close second. So you simply must go read it because it is, the series is just like no notes, like literally fantastic. So you must. Yeah.
It is
That's
very,
all I
very good.
So I'm glad you finally fucking
Yeah.
read it. It was about time.
I always resist. I don't know why. I'm like, I'm going to go my own way. And then I figure it out.
Yeah.
Oh boy, here we go. A Woman Who Run with the Wolves. I think this is my first true hate of this year. I gave this book a 1 star and I would have DNF'd it, except I'm a stubborn bitch and I refuse to DNF anything. I read this book in college and it's on my bookshelf. Also, let's put something in context. College was over a decade ago for me. Like, I graduated college in 2016. So, like, this was a long time ago. And I will say, when I first read this book, I feel like my prefrontal cortex was not fully developed. And I'm going to be very honest, like, I ate it up when I first read it. I thought it was so good. I was like, I am a wild woman. And something I had been wanting to listen to it again or read it again. So I was like, okay, let me just I bought this on Audible. I used a credit on this shit. Okay. And it was so bad, you guys. It was really bad. Again, I think you just grow and develop as a woman. I think this spoke to me as a 21-year-old who was still building her idea of who she was going to be as a woman. But now as a 31-year-old, I'm like, this is terrible. This is bad. Okay. I do think the ideas and the folk tales and myths that are shared in this book are pretty good, but the tone of the writing, the way the author interjects in and puts her own lens on these folk tales and myths are really just not it for me. I would have much preferred if this was a collection of stories that fit this wild woman archetype and had no author commentary at all. I think that's a little shady, but I'm standing by it. I stand by it. It was so bad. My next one, though, was pretty good. Kiss of the Basilisk. The original name of this book was Split or Swallow, like I said at the beginning. So that should tell you a lot. You will notice that, in every quarter, I will have, one spicy read that is, my palate cleanser. And this was it. This was it. I gave it 3 stars, and it is a good time, you guys. Just because I gave it 3 stars doesn't mean I'm not, recommending it. I am. Read it. It was spicy. Okay? It was good. I will say that there were a few spicy scenes that had me, clutching my non-existent pearls, okay? But when I was thinking about this book and writing it up, I will say in hindsight, I think all of those scenes made the dynamics of their world feel more real. The basilisk, and this is non-spoiler, this is on the back of the book. The basilisk's approach to sex is different than humans. And while those scenes were a little out there, do not get me wrong. If you read this book or you have read this book, you know what I'm talking about. They did help show the difference between the two of them. It created a very clear difference between the humans and the basilisks, which is also important in the context of the story. I think it's rare that spicy scenes function in like that. It's usually to build the emotional connection. So I will give this author, I can't remember her name, I'm so sorry. I'll give her credit where credit is due about that. However, that is the only time that we are shown something rather than told something. So that is my biggest criticism of the book overall, is that we did a lot of telling and not a lot of showing. And I would rather be shown things. So, and then my last one, which I literally finished like 30 minutes before we recorded. Heartless Hunter, 5 stars. What a great way to end my quarter. I ate this book up. Okay. I love a hunter and a hunted trope, and I love a baddie witch. And this book is all of that. This book sets up love as like a dangerous and an honest thing. And I really like that, felt so real to me and so good. And I loved it. I just could not put it down. I really couldn't. I also really like the world building around the witches and magic, especially this whole concept of like a casting signature. That's still spoiler free. There's nothing spoilery about that. And I could also spend hours like analyzing what a crimson moth as a casting signature symbolizes, but I will spare all of you from that. But yeah, I ate this up. Ate it up.
I just still think it's so funny because we're so different when it comes to reading. You're like, I know everything about this. I can symbolize everything you ask me to. And I'm just like, oh my God, this is wonderful. I just think it's so funny.
We also read like, you read a lot more different types of books than I do. Like when you
Yeah.
were reading off your summaries and you were like, the Great Depression, colonial Maine. I'm like, that sounds like my nightmare. I never want to read about those things. Like that does not interest me at all. And so I read fantasy, I read fiction, and I read like folk tales and myths and like nonfiction, but like I have no interest in like the Great Depression. And I also
See,
don't
like,
do
I don't
rom-coms. Like,
either.
ugh.
Yeah. I
But
didn't
you
either.
do.
Yeah, but like, listen to me, okay? Because I just like the way that Kristen Hanna writes, it just doesn't make it seem like that. You know what I'm saying? Because like I've read
Yeah.
like, because I've read The Woman by her, I've read The Four Winds, I've read Nightingale, and I've read The Great Alone, which The Great Alone, fantastic. Love that book. Chef's kiss, no notes.
I have that one.
And you need to read it. But anyways, all those books just like feel like you're watching TV. I don't know. Like the way that she writes is just so wonderful. But I do have a really wide variety. I love fantasy. It's my favorite series, but like I like to dibble and dabble. Because I can't listen to fantasy on audiobooks. I can't do that unless
Oh,
it's
no.
like, yeah, unless it's something like I've already read. Like I'll listen to like Throne of Glass or like ACOTAR, that kind of stuff. But if like the Book of Azrael, like I won't listen to that on audiobook because I haven't read it. Like I need to physically read that.
People who can listen to fantasy on audiobook and it's their first time listening to it, I'm like, you're built different. You're built different. What do you mean that you are entering a whole new world where typically nothing is familiar to you and you're listening to it? I literally could not. Like, hats off to people who do that, because I think I would be having like, I would have to take notes. I already take notes. I already take notes on every book I read. So
when
I'm terrified of missing something.
No, that's so real. When I first started listening to fantasy, which was like, or when I first started like getting into fantasy was like 2 years ago, I think like 2 summers ago. I listened to Fourth Wing and the whole ACOTAR series. Like I didn't actually physically read them, but then when I got to Throne of Glass and there wasn't any audiobook versions unless you like bought them on Audible and I had to physically read them, that's when I was like, oh wait, I actually don't like listening to the audiobook. I would prefer to physically read it because I can like you said, like I need to take notes, and especially like with Throne of Glass, so much shit happens. But then that's when I switch sides.
Switching sides.
That's a TikTok, isn't it?
I think so.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Wait, what was your favorite book and your least favorite book? Before we forget.
Okay, I have like a tie because I really liked Four Winds by Kristen Hanna because I just love her. Like I love her writing. I really liked that story and I liked the plot, but I also really loved the Book of Azrael. So I'm gonna say those are my two favorites. Like I would recommend both of those. And then my least favorite book was it's either between The Shadow and Bone, the first 2 books I started, or Presumed Innocent. But I'm gonna say Presumed Innocent. I think Presumed Innocent was my least favorite book in this quarter because it was fucking trash.
Why do I feel like there's like a movie after that book?
There's a TV show. It's a TV show.
Okay, that's what I thought. Okay.
Yeah. And hopefully the TV show isn't anything like the book because the book was fucking boring. I also just didn't really like the guy that did the audiobook. Like I didn't like his voice. So I think that's also why I didn't really like it. So maybe if I physically read it, I would have a different like opinion, but I really hated the audiobook. But anyways, what about you? What was your favorite and what was your least favorite?
That's so hard. I feel like if I hadn't, no, you know what? I think the whole War of Lost Hearts trilogy was my favorite read. It was. I really did enjoy like Heartless Hunter. I feel like I would put it as my favorite if I had read Rebel Witch, which is the next one, but I have not read that in this quarter. But I feel like that was really up there for me, just based on like how quickly I read it and like I ate it up. But I think War of Lost Hearts was amazing. I think it's one of my top reads of the year so far. So that was my favorite. And my least favorite was Woman Who Run with the Wolves. I also listened to that on like 1.8 speed, which is very fast for me. It was giving me a heart attack, but I needed to be done. I desperately needed to be done with it. So yeah,
If you're a girly who puts the audiobook on like a higher speed when you want to get through it, drop us a comment. We could be friends. We should be friends. And if you're a girly who just listens to your audiobooks fast in general, drop us a comment. We can be friends. Well, me and you can be friends because I listen to my audiobooks on 1.8 speed and people think I'm crazy. But I know there's more of us.
I think it was when we were reading Onyx Storm and we were getting close to the end. Mind you, we'd been reading for like 20 hours at this point, you guys. I mean, we
Yeah.
did a marathon and you were listening to it at like 1.8 speed. And I was like, I'm going to have a heart attack just thinking about you doing that. But you did it.
Yeah. Because I sometimes what I like to do too is like with the fantasy, I like to listen to it and I like to immerse myself. I like to listen and I like to read it, like physically read it. And when I do that, I have to put it on 2.5 because I like read faster than like the audiobook words. So then in order for it to like match up, I need it to be on 2.5 or like 2.2 to 2.5, depending on like what's happening. Or I simply it just doesn't work for me. But people who listen to it on 1.0 speed, like it sounds like they're talking in slow motion. Like literally it sounds like they're talking in slow motion.
Okay, but what you just said about 2.5 speed and like matching it up, like you just described my nightmare. Like that's my nightmare reading situation.
That's an ideal for me.
Cannot do that. Not do that. Mm-mm.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, we're very different readers here. But we're besties. So like it's okay, you know?
Yeah. It works out. We
Yeah,
read.
yeah. We're just girls. Okay. Series and sequels to be continued. Are we staying in the series or is it time to close the book? This is giving like Bachelor vibes. I don't know. It's if either of us read a book in a series, we'll talk about whether we plan on continuing the series. First up, the Shadow and Bone series, I simply will not be continuing. There is one more book. I've read the first two and I simply was really bored and I don't even really remember what happened. I just like am not going to put myself through the third book. I'm sorry. I have so many other books that I would like to read. And again, I have read Six of Crows and I simply love that series. It is a great series. Was a five. I actually never finished Crooked Kingdom yet. I still needed to read that book, but I liked Six of Crows. It was a fantastic book. And I was very, very, very disappointed with Shadow and Bone. I do plan on watching the TV show though, because like maybe the TV show is better. I don't know, but it did get canceled. So maybe it's not better. I don't fucking know. So I guess we'll find out. But the Book of Azrael, I definitely, yes, immediately, yes. I will be continuing this with this series. I love this series down bad, and I need to know what happens next. I'm in the second book right now, and it is so good. Like the changes of POVs, like all the different things, like the plot, the world, the magic system, all of it is fantastic. There are currently 3 books out, and the 4th one comes out right around my birthday in October of this year. And I think it's slated for 5 books in total, but I'm not sure if it was 5 or 7. I really can't remember, and I probably should have looked that up, but I didn't. So, yeah, I don't really remember. But if it's 5 or if it's 7, even if it's 10, I'm going to read them all. So,
As someone who did read the whole Shadow and Bone series, I'm glad you're not continuing. I did continue. I did give Brooke the spoilers of the 3rd one so that you would not have to read it because I don't know. I was really excited to read Six of Crows, and I will say that reading the Shadow and Bone trilogy pushed Six of Crows down on my TBR because it did not hit for me. It did not hit. I put the War of Lost Hearts trilogy on here just because like I did read it all. It's a series, and if there was another book, I would have continued. And I'm so sad that it's done because I love being in that world. And if you're interested in reading the series, I definitely recommend it. Like, just do it. And I'm so sorry if you did not buy the indie covers and you look at the new ones because I'm sorry, it's a crime. What they did
they're
to the
fucking
War of Lost Hearts trilogy, it's a crime. The covers are a crime.
like How do you go from this? Beautiful. How do you go from this to that bullshit that she put out? I'm sorry. It just doesn't like this. I spent $90 in total on these 3 books, and it's the best $90 I've ever spent because these books are beautiful.
I think my main thing with the new covers is that when you're reading the War of Lost Hearts trilogy, you in no way, at no point in time, mind you, I love mythology. Like, I'm a mythology nerd. In no point in time did I ever connect it to Greek mythology or like, you know, the Roman Empire, nothing like that. If anything, the world felt very diverse. Like, if you asked me to point to somewhere on our world map and be like, that's where I think they're at, I would never really be able to like pick something out for you. And I think those new covers give it like a Greek mythology vibe, which is not the vibe of the series. So do not let the covers confuse you. Read the series. It's very good.
I do hope though that with these new covers that like Daughter of No World, like the Lost War on the Lost Hearts trilogy, like I hope that it gets more like, what's the word I'm looking for?
Recognition.
Like more publicity, like recognition. Because I feel like Serpent and the Wings of Night is very popular by Crystal Broadbent, but in my opinion, I think like what I've been hearing about Serpent and the Wings of Night, I think that like this trilogy is fantastic and she did a wonderful job with this, and I think this is probably one of her best works. So I just hope that it gets more recognition as it should.
I agree. Oh, I have 2 more. Okay. Kiss of the Basilisk is part of the Split or Swallow series, and I just saw that there is a next book. I didn't think that there could be a next book, but it's called Between Two Kings, which hate that title for various reasons. I'm going to not do anything. I'm not going to spoil anything. But Between Two Kings is supposed to come out November 11th of this year. Again, I'm not sure if this is supposed to be a duology, a trilogy, or a series. Like, I have no idea how many there are supposed to be. Mind you, I thought it was a standalone. I don't think I'll read it right away because I'm not like desperate to see what comes next. But I will add it to my TBR as like a palate cleanser for some point at the end of the year. Maybe like winter break. Yeah. And Heartless Hunter is part of the Crimson Moth duology. The second book is Rebel Witch, and it's literally already loaded up on my Kindle and ready to go. So I will literally be continuing it tonight, because the end of Heartless Hunter really, yeah. Typically, our shared pages would go right here, but we have no shared pages. We went on our own reading journeys and did not share any books this quarter, but maybe next quarter. And I think yes, because this is our summer break. So
I'm hoping that we get to read, we have both been wanting to read The Will of the Many, so hopefully that's something that we can read this summer together. She's a chunker. I have her right here.
Hi, it's thick, babes.
She's a thick girly. She's a really thick girly. I could knock somebody upside the head with this if I really wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm really hoping to read this over the summer.
We could do that. Yeah. I could be convinced.
We'll just read it on the Kindle, and then it will be like you're not even actually reading that. Like, you're not really reading that many pages. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't have to carry around that big book. You could just read it on your Kindle.
True. So true. And we need to read it. Like, that's a good one. You're so right. And lastly, our literary soundtrack. We've seen so many playlists for different books and series, so this section is songs that capture the vibe of the books from this quarter or our general reading mood in this quarter. Warning, some of the songs might be semi-spoilery, but we do our best to like not go into detail as to why that song fits that. Like, we try to be good, okay? Also, if you want to listen to all of the songs we talk about in this section, check the show notes for the link to our quarter 2 playlist. We're going to make it on Spotify. I do not have Apple Music, nor do I know how to use Apple Music, but we will figure it out for those of you that have stuck with Apple Music. Again, hats off to you because we are both Spotify girlies over here. Go off, Brooke. You got 14 songs to list off, girl.
I know, girl. I'm so sorry. Bear with me. I've just been yapping away this whole fucking time. If you can't tell, I'm a yapper, but I'm also a teacher. So, like, feel like that's part of my job. I have to fucking yap all day. But anyways, my first song, I'm putting 3 of these together. I'm doing Shadow and Bone, Siege and Storm, and Presumed Innocent. If I had to pick something, it would have to be a lullaby. Something that would put me to sleep because that's how these books had me feeling. So that's just where I'm at with that. For Take My Hand, I would say Stand By Me by Ben E. King because the song talks about self-discovery and navigating the challenges of life, and that relates a lot to the themes in Take My Hand. And I also just love that. I love that song. Our Infinite Fates involves fate, destiny, and characters fighting for what they believe in. Lose Yourself by Eminem fits because it's all about seizing the moment, embracing your destiny, and pushing through adversity. The Body Keep score is giving Praying by Kesha vibes. The song is all about overcoming trauma and reclaiming your power, which aligns perfectly with the themes in the Body Keep score. It's a raw emotional anthem about healing and finding strength after hardship. For I'm That Girl by Jordan Charles, it's giving It Girl by Aaliyah's interlude because Jordan Charles is that girl, and being confident in who you are and what you do, that is very much of what the vibe of Jordan's book is. With its mystery, suspense, and dark undertones, Toxic by Britney Spears perfectly matches with The Only One Left. It gives that haunting, dangerous vibe that fits the eerie atmosphere of the book where nothing is as it seems. And it's a little bit toxic. Okay. Anyways, next up, Wildest Dreams by Taylor Swift fits Say You'll Remember Me because it's about cherishing moments and the people who mean something to you, even when life changes. Also, I see your face over there. I'm not a big Taylor Swift fan.
Gun to your head. Tell me what Wildest Dream sounds like. Gun to your head.
I know that one. I know that song. It's like, Wildest Dreams. Say you'll remember me.
Oh, okay. I'll eat my words. Never mind.
Something. I'm not a Taylor Swift girl. Yeah. Also, I'm sorry if I just blew your eardrums out because I do not sing. And I do not really like Taylor Swift. But this song, fit. I knew this song and I was like, or it was either between this song or between Remember Me in Coco. Remember me before I have to say goodbye. So I guess I could be either one of those. Actually, I really think I like the Coco one version better. So we're switching this because I'm not really a T Swiftie girl. So we're going to do Remember Me by Coco because actually that one is fantastic. I don't even have to say anything else. This next song really captures the spirit of resilience and survival, and the themes are central to the Four Winds. The story of enduring hardship and fighting for hope in the face of adversity perfectly fits with the lyrics of The Rising, which is all about facing struggles head on. Period. The book
Wait, who sings that?
Is by Bruce Springsteen. Yep. Yeah.
The
Rising. Right. Yeah. That's who it's by, girl. All right. Next up, we have the Book of Azrael, and it's full of ancient prophecies, battles, and self-discovery. So Unstoppable by Sia fits perfectly. It's empowering, fierce, and captures that feeling of embracing your destiny and power through challenges, just like the protagonist in the novel. For anxious people, I would say Lean on Me by Bill Withers because it matches the book's theme of compassion and how strangers can end up supporting one another in unexpected ways. For The Great Big Beautiful Life by Emily Henry, it reminds me of the song called Someone You Love by Louis Capaldi. I don't know. I'm not even going to try because I feel like this song captures the relationship between Alice. This song captures the relationship by Alice and Hayden as well as the story that they are writing about. And that's it.
It's Capaldi, I think. Louis Capaldi? I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, my literary playlist. Okay, for Daughter of No Worlds, I definitely think The Archer by Taylor Swift fits Tasana so well, and I am a T Swift girly. But there is a line in that song that goes, I've been the archer and I've been the prey, and that is so Tasana. I'm sorry, it is. That is so her. For Children of Fallen Gods, I went with I Know the End by Phoebe Bridgers because it kind of starts off slow, which I feel like Children of Fallen Gods is there's some buildup at the beginning and then it explodes. And that's kind of how I feel like this book went. And I love that song so much. And I Know the End has that kind of haunted vibe that I love. And I feel like it fits some parts of this book really well. So that's my one for Children of Fallen Gods. For Mother of Death and Dawn, I have a few songs because so many things happen. Okay. To represent Aphie, I went with Seven Devils by, oh my God, why am I blanking out on who sings this? Florence and the Machine. Because I feel like it represents the ways in which she was broken and transformed. If you've read this book, go listen to Seven Devils by Florence and the Machine. It is so Aphie coded, okay? Aphie and Cadwin. I think Savior Complex by Phoebe Bridgers fits so well because of reasons. For Max, I immediately thought My Body is a Cage, but not the Arcade Fire version, the Peter Gabriel version. I can't say more, but that is his song. To represent Max and Tasana together in Mother of Death and Dawn, I went with Atlas 2 by Sleeping at Last. Everyone's heard this song. You think you haven't heard the song? You have. But they are my babies, and I feel like that song is so them. It's so them. And then to represent Mother of Death and Dawn as a whole, I'm going with The Chain by Fleetwood Mac. So I did the whole trilogy. I said, I'm going to fully lean into this. I hated Woman Who Run with the Wolves, so it does pain me to assign it a good song. However, I feel like if I remove my feelings about the author. Mad Woman by Taylor Swift fits pretty well with like the mythology and the folk tales that we get in this book. So again, I don't think this book deserves that song, but whatever. Mad Woman by Taylor Swift. For Kiss of the Basilisk, I'm going with You Should See Me in a Crown by Billie Eilish. It's spicy, it's edgy. Yeah, that was mine. For Heartless Hunter, I'm going with two songs. One, Rhiannon by Fleetwood Mac, because it is so rune-coded. I think that song is literally about falling in love with a witch, so it is perfect. And honorable mention goes to Ophelia by the Lumineers, because it is also so rune-coded. So those are my songs.
Slay your enemies. Okay. Anyways, and that is all for our quarterly reading wrap up. We hope that you enjoyed hearing about all the books that we read in April, May, and June. Do not forget to follow us on Instagram and TikTok, where our handle is at Bookish Realms Pod, baby. Actually, the baby's not in there, but like, you get what I'm saying.
I never thought about that. Yeah, there is no baby. It's just pod at the end. But we'd love to hear your thoughts on this episode, so drop us a comment or send us a message. Also, leave us a rating if you like what you heard. It really helps us out.
Join us in 2 weeks when we start our deep dives for Queen of Shadows. Until then, keep reading, assassins.
Bye!